How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. We got a great one on tap today, boys and girls. Honestly, this episode, I'm just gonna little preview. I really truly believe it's gonna be more for the girls. I'm gonna try to throw the guy stuff in there, but today, you know what I'm gonna do? I have a ton of situations and a ton of questions, mostly from women, and I'm gonna get you inside the mind of a guy, and also obviously give you some great tips and feedback on each of these situations. We're really going to focus on a lot of early stage dating. There was somebody that was yelling at me about her situationship. So we're going to cover situationships. Honestly, it's just a confusion that I feel like most people feel, and specifically my women early on in the dating process. So we're going to get into that. I do have one quick monologue that I want to make before we get into that. But even before we get into that, look at that. Wow, everything is stacking. I was on a coaching call today, and I love this coachee. This client, we've been working together for so long, and she's awesome because she always inadvertently gives me topics for podcasts and episodes. But she said something on our call today, and I want to set this up for our next episode because I think it's going to be great. But she made a comment and she said, when guys are nice to me, I start to act like an asshole and give them attitude. So next episode, I'm going to do a deep dive into avoidant women. We talk a lot about avoidant men, but I don't even think so many women realize how avoidant they really are. So we're going to be talking about that phenomena of like when a girl actually gets what she wants. Sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it doesn't feel like enough. Sometimes you want to criticize. So we're going to go down that rabbit hole next time. But I just wanted to set that up and let you know that that is coming on the horizon. And the monologue that I wanted to start off with today, I saw this video today. And honestly, it low-key triggered me a little bit. And it was this girl, and she was going off. Honestly, I looked at the rest of her page. She's a little negative. But she had this whole rant about how she's done the work, she's been working on herself, and you know how everybody just says to love yourself and then you'll get the relationship that you're looking for. And she's like, I've been doing this work for years and I still don't have the relationship that I want. Like pretty much just saying and almost like weirdly invalidating doing the work, quote unquote. And you know, to be honest, I understand the frustration because I think for a lot of us, it can get frustrating, right? You could be listening to the podcast, you could be reading the books, you could be doing all the things. You could feel like you're really centering yourself and you still don't have the outcomes that you want. But the comment that I wanted to make to that is this. I think the true core of what the work is, quote unquote, doing the work, is being able to find inner peace, is being able to find joy beyond the outcomes, right? The whole point of, and I ask my clients this all the time. I ask any single person that I get onto a consultation with, because to me, this brings it into perspective. But I always ask people, why do you even want a relationship in the first place? Seriously, why do you want that? And honestly, there's a whole chapter in the book that I'm writing as well too. But I ask people, yeah, why do you want a relationship? Ask yourself that question. Most people don't even ask that. It's so funny. I ask that question on calls and people are like, I don't know. I think it's because, I don't know. It just feels like, it's almost like, it feels like the next step. It feels like what, it would just be nice, right? To have some connection, to just have a person in my life. It's like people don't even know why they're doing the things that they're doing. But I think this is what happens, right? When you get to the core of it, I truly believe, right? The surface level is like, well, I want somebody to spend my time with, or right, somebody that's funny, somebody that's cute, somebody that's, these things. And I feel like just having that person in my life would what? Feel good. That's really what it comes down to, right? Which is like, I think the whole purpose of wanting a relationship in the first place is because you feel that by being in a relationship that you will be able to feel good. You'll be at peace. You'll have connection. And with connection, what does that bring, right? Why do you want connection? Because people would say that too, right? Because, I want connection. Why? Well, I guess I would just be able to feel calm and relaxed and secure, right? And like somebody understands me, somebody sees me. And it would just feel really good to be able to come home to somebody and let my hair down, right? Be able to be relaxed. Honestly, what I think people are really searching for when they're looking for a relationship truly is peace. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to feel good, and they're looking to feel good through having a sense of security through another person. And that inherently is not a bad thing. I'm not here to like come at you for that desire. It's a human need, genuinely. Being in a connection, being in a relationship, all those things, right? The outcome that this person was talking about that she doesn't have and she wants. But the truth is we are looking for these feelings of peace. We are looking for these feelings of comfort. And to me, the point of the work is to be able to try to cultivate that for yourself beyond the outcomes. The whole goal for me, being able to help you as a coach or a mentor, and even just on this podcast, is to help you to create that inner peace, to give you the tools to get back on track to peace when you lose it. And recognizing that, here's the thing, relationships are going to come and go. That's life. Here's the thing, right? You might date the dopest fucking person. They might get hit by a bus. I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. Sorry, shit happens, right? Somebody moves across the country. You guys grow apart. Your values change. So many things can happen. There's so many factors. If you put your idea of peace and happiness into just being in a relationship, you have it wrong. And that's why I almost wanted to like comment on this girl's video. I was like, yo, give me 3 months with you because I will change your mindset completely around this because you've missed the entire point of doing the work. And here's the thing, I'm not discounting how fucking frustrating it is when you don't have what it is that you want, right? I understand. I'm not in a relationship. I get it. I'm single. I wake up every day. It'd be nice. Would be nice to have somebody, right? Of course. And it would also be nice to have $1 million. It would also be nice to be extremely successful in my career. But that's what I'm trying to say is like the outcomes that you're looking for don't just inherently bring those things. I mean, we're going to talk today about people that are in situations where they have somebody, they're in a quote unquote relationship or pseudo relationship or situationship, and they're still not feeling at peace. That's the whole motherfucking point of what you're trying to accomplish here. So I don't want you to lose sight of that, right? The whole objective of this is to cultivate peace in your life. And as a byproduct, that's how I feel, as a byproduct of your own inner peace, as a byproduct of the joy that you've cultivated for yourself, the worthiness, the feelings of enoughness, the wholeness that you've created for yourself, as a byproduct, you start to receive the outcomes that you want. It's a paradox. It really is. Because here's the other thing too. When we do get those results, it does feel good, right? It does actually bring more feelings of peace and success and achievement and security. But we have to be able to have those things when we don't have those things. Sounds strange, right? It's like, that's what I'm trying to say is that most people, it's interesting, right? It's like the things that we want the confidence to get the things that we want. But the reality is the actions behind those things come first. The belief behind those things come first. You have to be able to imagine it and live it and embody it and breathe it before the thing that you want exists. That's why I said it's like a paradox. It's weird. It's like you have to believe that you almost already have it without having it. And then when you do have it, appreciate it. And not feel fear of losing it because you know that you have peace on your own. And you know that you've cultivated that belief on your own. So to me, that's part of it. Now, again, the trials and tribulations of this work is like, I mean, I had a phone call today with Jay. You guys know Jay's my man, bro. Sometimes you gotta lean on people. I'm not saying that these things are not hard. What is patience, right? I always ask people, what is patience? Patience is being able to sit in feelings that are uncomfortable or that you don't want to feel. That's what it is. That's what patience is. It's you learning to navigate the fact that it's not always going to feel good, that it's not always going to be so comfortable. But the more that you can get yourself back on track, the more that you have tools to realign yourself to the goals and to the positive self-belief that you need to receive, that's when you're going to find success. If you want to complain about it, go ahead. I'm good. I'm all game. That's a lot of my calls, right? I have to reinstill belief into you that you're going to receive what you want. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to get it. I ask people all the time, if you don't believe that you're going to win the game, what's the point of playing? If you don't believe that the partner that you want is out there, are you ever going to find it? No. And to me, that's why you need to have peace with the uncertainty. That is the motherfucking key right there. Boom. And that's what I'm learning for myself, is that life is uncertain. Life is insecure. Life is unstable. Life is uncomfortable sometimes. There is a balance. There is a yin and there is a yang. There is sunshine, but there is also motherfucking rain. Bring a motherfucking umbrella. For real. The point of the work is to create the umbrella. That's what it is. It's to cultivate a level of sturdiness within yourself that you can handle uncomfortable moments, and having tools to be able to help you through the rainy days, through the times that it's uncomfortable, and understanding that that is part of the journey to receiving the things that you want. But also don't lose track that life is a motherfucking journey. It's never going to stop. You see what I'm saying? There's never going to be a place or a time in your life where it's ultimate comfortability. There's nothing that's uncomfortable at all. Actually, that's a lie. There will be those times, right? And they could be months, it could be years. But I can tell you for a motherfucking fact, you're going to see some rain at some point. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to have the things that you want to have. You're not going to be where you want to be yet. And this is when we got to lean on our friends. This is when we got to listen to the podcast. This is when we got to meditate, slow down our breathing, right? Calm down our nervous system. And that is how we make our way through life, understanding that we are capable of handling the discomfort. All right, let's get into the situations, and let me start fucking ranting, because you know how I get. All right, buckle up, bitches. We got a lot of questions, girl questions, and we got some situations. All right. Hey, Chris, question for you. : Love that. Great grammar. I've been talking to a guy for a little over a month. He's kind, hardworking, respectful, and makes somewhat of an effort to see me regularly. See, already in the motherfucking question. But okay, keep that in mind, right? She said somewhat of an effort to see me regularly. He's a single dad who has his son full time, so that makes getting together very limited. Since we don't get to see each other as much, I would like communication is important to me during the time we aren't together. The problem is he isn't great at texting. Sometimes takes hours to respond. Can I pause right there? When I was reading this, I got not triggered. First thing that jumped out to me as a coach said sometimes, right, communication is limited. I understand that, right? And then she said, sometimes takes hours to respond. Let me ask you, what is your expectation for somebody to respond back to you? Because, this to me, and this is why these situations are important, to view it on both sides, because I think a lot of the times what we don't see when we're asking these questions and when we're feeling some type of way about a situation, our shit, our stuff, our work is also involved in the relationship. So whenever I'm talking about these situations, I want you guys to think about how each situation is 50-50. Like, this girl is telling me her situation, but I can guarantee you she is half of the challenge in this relationship. And to me, right, what we're seeing already in the question, and again, I'm picking it apart and we're not even halfway through the description, but she said that sometimes he takes hours to respond. Hours? To me, hours to respond is really not an issue. Again, it really depends on the context of the situation. And she's only known this guy for a month. And I just want to call that out because, I understand wanting communication, but if we're talking and we're responding to each other, every few hours because we're not around each other, is that really not enough? I mean, what is the expectation? I guess is what I want to understand. And when I hear that, what I hear from this person is probably more anxious attachment, right? And we talked, if you listen to the last podcast, the ego podcast, right? It's both sides. This girl probably wants this level of certainty in relationships that to me is partially her work, right? She's uncomfortable with the discomfort of sitting with herself and not receiving a response for hours. To me, there's some work that needs to be done there. It's all I'm trying to say. So let's finish the question. I understand he's busy, especially as a dad, but I'm also busy as a mom of two. How do I bring this up to him without seeming like I'm attacking him, prioritizing his son? So she's feeling like the communication is limited, right? And it's hard, right? Because of maybe what I am saying right now too, right? Which is like, I'm sure he's giving as much as he can. It's what it sounds like. Maybe he could probably give more. And that's what she's trying to say. She's like, I'm busy too, and I can communicate quicker, right? Now, I just want to point out really quickly, that is you. That is you. That doesn't inherently mean that every single person that you date is going to be in absolute alignment with the amount of communication that you want and need. That's just facts, right? And now here's the thing. You said, how do I bring it up to him without it being an attack? So, and this is huge. I think that's a great question. To me, what I think I would want you to do in this situation is pose it based on how you feel. Just communicate your feelings. Don't come with a solution. Don't tell him what he needs to do. Don't accuse him or blame him, right? Because that to me is when it turns into an attack. I want you to address it as an open-ended conversation that's more from a place of curiosity, because that's what we really need to understand here. We need to understand, hey, is this the amount that you are willing to give me? Hey, you know what? I know we've been talking for a month, and I totally understand that you're a dad, you're busy, you have a lot going on, but I just want to be honest, right? We don't get to see each other very much. Communication is important to me. And I just want to understand, are you taking hours because you were genuinely busy? Or is it really because, that's all you really have to give, right? That's what you really want to understand. Is this all you have? And what you could say is sometimes I feel that, I don't know, maybe I'm not prioritized. And I'm not saying, and turn around and say, hey, I'm not saying that you are not prioritizing me. That is just how I feel, right? Put that out there. There's nothing else you could really do beyond that, right? Because what you're doing is you're trying to understand. You're trying to understand through asking that question. You're still being direct about how you feel. Hey, I'm starting to feel not prioritized. And again, you can even say it's not, and here's the thing, maybe we need to talk about this because maybe this is as much as you're willing to give and maybe it's okay. I just need to understand that you're still in this, right? I need to understand if you truly do want to prioritize me, or if there's a way to give me more communication or for us to have more communication. I would really appreciate that. You're not attacking him. You're not blaming him. You're trying to understand more from his side what's going on, right? Because I think on the flip side of the coin of this, for me personally, as a guy, I'm just going to speak my truth. I don't think responding back over a course of hours, especially if it's like a work day or whatnot, to me, that's not weird at all. Like if I was dating somebody, right, more than likely, I'm just going to text you, be like, hey, have a good day. I'm going to get after it, whatever it is. Or, hey, I'm going to go record a podcast. I'm just busy. And also just sometimes too, it's like genuinely I'm in my shit, I'm working, right? I have things I'm prioritizing and focusing on. And you also got to understand too, you guys are only a month in, right? You're a little over a month. We're talking about weeks. So to me, at this stage of the relationship, I guess you need to ask yourself, what is your expectation? What is your own expectation? What are you really feeling? And here's the hard part. I don't want you to ignore your intuition, right? If you feel like you're not being prioritized, right? I understand that. But what we got to do is just actually vulnerably communicate that. That's all. We just got to vulnerably, serve that up and let him know where you stand on that. and just be honest about the whole situation, right? Again, just be real. Just say, hey, like, we don't get to see each other, and that's okay, right? I would love to see you more. And communication's a big deal, right? If we're going to do this and we're not going to have this time together, is there a way that we can come up with something where I can feel safe and prioritized in this relationship? Because maybe it's not more texting. Maybe actually the solution that you're looking for is a phone call at night. Maybe there's a different way that you guys can both create equilibrium or a positive outcome that he doesn't feel overwhelmed, but at the same time, you don't feel not prioritized. And so that's the key. It's this open, honest, vulnerable, real communication. And here's my thing. At the end of the day, you don't control his reaction, right? That's not what you control. You control speaking your honest truth without blame, without attacking, without feeling like you need to control. It's about being open-minded that just because you feel you need something doesn't mean that you are automatically right and that he needs to do it the way that you want him to do it, right? Be open-minded to the fact that he can view it differently. Be open-minded to the fact that maybe he does enjoy this relationship, but the way that he's showing up is just different from you. And then what you got to do is, again, try to find that common ground. And to be honest, here's the deal. If you come up with a plan, right, to communicate, and again, let's say it's like nightly phone calls, whatever it is, and that feels good to you, and then he's not showing up to that, that to me is when the red flags really start to, show themselves. And you probably got to ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Right? I shared honestly how I was feeling. I shared honestly that I needed more communication. We tried to come up with something, right? We both agreed to a certain way to communicate. And yeah, he's still not showing up. He's still not prioritizing this. So at this point, when, again, if that's what happened, right? And you continue to feel deprioritized, at that point, you might have to set a different type of boundary, right? At that point, you got to be really honest. Hey, you're a really cool guy. And I feel like you're a really amazing person, but it just, I'm gonna be real. It just doesn't feel like enough. Maybe you're not in a position where you're ready to give me the things that I need, and that's okay. But I just wanted to be honest about that as well too. What I've noticed for the people that I work with that are anxious, especially my women, right? I see this a lot where they date guys and they want this level of certainty from the relationship. And we're going to see that throughout, right? It's because we are nervous that the relationship is not going in the way that we want. So in order to satisfy that, right, we start to bring this level of like rigidness or franticness, or we need all this level of communication in order to feel safe. And to me, it's not about that, right? Because here's the thing, again, like I said, when I hear hours, I personally, when I hear that out loud, I'm like, that's not a big deal, right? I'm like, that's okay. Right? It doesn't mean he doesn't care. It really doesn't. Now, again, if you guys are not really seeing each other and all you really have is communication and that still is kind of lacking, yeah, I don't know. The other flip side of the coin of all that is I really feel like the right person, they're going to prioritize you, And here's the thing. I'm not saying that he's not, because that's what I'm saying. You don't know the individual details of these situations until you really get in it. That's why I don't want to take a side. It's not about me taking a side. Oh, he's wrong and she's right, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. What I really see as a holistic view of this situation is probably a guy that's probably a little bit more aloof, a little bit more maybe on the avoidance side, right? And then we have this woman here that's probably a little bit more on the anxious side, right? Needs a little bit extra reassurance because we're seeing a little bit of fear. So, and that's the hard part, right? It's like you have to ask yourself, what's the kind of relationship that you want? Because for some people, maybe that isn't enough, right? I have clients where if the guy doesn't text them back over, 2 hours, 3 hours, she's losing her mind, right? Because she's so anxious about where they can be. There are partners that are going to show up and are willing to communicate, very, very, very frequently. But my whole thing is as a coach, right? Like what I would want to work with you on personally is, why are you feeling so anxious that he's not responding back for hours? Does it truly feel like he's not prioritizing you? Or is it like, hey, he's giving you what he can, and for you've lost the identity of your own life, of your own joy, of your own peace. And we really need to understand, it's like, yeah, what is it that you want? Because the other thing too that you said is that make somewhat of an effort to see me regularly. It kind of just sounds like this guy's energy, like I said, is just kind of more aloof. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes with those kinds of people, like that's what you're gonna kind of get. So you almost sometimes need to ask yourself, okay, do I want to date somebody where I won't be able to talk to them that frequently? Do I want to date somebody where, hey, we're not going to see each other that much? And if that answer is no, I don't know if this is the guy for you. Because I think you can catch a vibe after like a month or so. But I also do see a lot of the times that where a lot of women struggle is because you are so anxious and you need so much reassurance, inadvertently, what is happening is that other person will start to drift a little bit. I think it's very natural. I think it's very human to do that, genuinely. I think we all go through that. Remember what did I say at the beginning of this podcast, right? I had the girl, one of my clients say, when guys are nice to me, I start to act like an asshole and give them attitude. And she'll be a little bit more aloof. And you guys know that's true too, right? When somebody is maybe seeking more reassurance and energy than you want, you will start to distance yourself just a bit, right? You'll kind of just like back up just a tad because it could feel like a lot of energy. What we want to try to do is we want to bring equilibrium to your dating process. So here's the other thing that I help a lot of people with, right? So let me give you an analogy. If you go to the doctor and you have a high fever, what are they trying to do, right? Calm you down, right? Cool you down. Let's say you're dehydrated. What is a doctor going to recommend? IV, right? Hydration. What we are trying to do when we are trying to, I would say, heal something or fix something is bring more equilibrium to whatever the thing, right? So for instance, that's why you see dating, there's a polarity, right? You have this anxious, needing reassurance, and then you have this avoidant, not even going close to vulnerability, right? And what we want to do, right? So if you're an avoidant person, if we're going to bring more equilibrium, what do we need to do, right? We need to help you become more vulnerable, right? We need to help you stick in things longer than maybe you would want to. For my anxious, right? In these situations, what I would want to help you with is bringing you more to center, right? How could you be more focused on your own identity? How could you be more focused on being able to regulate yourself, be in your own energy? Because here's my thing, right? If you're questioning somebody not answering you for hours, my question is like, what are you doing in your own life that is not keeping you engaged? Right? What my question is what do you have to talk to somebody every 2 hours for? You see what I'm saying? Like that is what I want to understand. Like, do you talk to every single one of your friends for every 2 hours? That to me seems like a lot, right? And think about your friendships where a lot of people don't have as much attachment. Do your friends fucking hate you or not prioritize you because you're not texting them? No. Now it's a different level of relationship. I don't want to compare too much, right? Because a relationship, I do agree, right? There's probably daily communication, of course, right? We need to be talking to it. There's communication is everything. I told you, communication is oxygen. It is. But my point is, there needs to be a level of trust. There needs to be a level of trust that, you are whole, you are worthy, that this person cares about you. And it can't just come from the other person. It also has to come from you. So, and I see that a lot with my anxious is that you really struggle creating that trust within yourself that, wow, this person actually does like me. They do care about me. Even if they haven't answered me for 3 hours, it doesn't mean that they hate me. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It doesn't mean that they're fucking other people. Because what will happen is, to me, is naturally, right? If you could create that equilibrium within yourself and that trust, your answer will come naturally, right? So let's say you speak up to this guy, right? And you say, hey, I am just feeling a little bit deprioritized. I'm working on being in my own energy, but, can we come up with something that, we could feel better about this communication? Again, it might not even mean more. It just might mean something different. And what you need to do then is see how you feel when those changes take place. The hard part is we all want to, again, ego podcast, right? The last one, we talked about this. Everybody wants to protect themselves. What you're doing in this situation, right, is trying to protect yourself from being taken advantage of, right? From dating a guy that's nonchalant. And I understand that. But the problem is if we are too far in this idea of protection, we lose trust. We lose being able to be uncertain, to be in the moment, to see where it goes. And again, when we're talking about a month in at this point, I would like to see more that you just kind of experience the relationship for what it is. Yeah, how much is he giving you? Right? Now, nothing wrong with, again, speaking up and having this real conversation around how you feel. I do want you to have it, because if you're feeling it, there's a reason. And I never want you to go against your feelings and your intuition. But I'm just trying to tell you, be open-minded to the fact that you guys look at the relationship differently. And then the second part is I would love to work with you and help you with regulating yourself, building this level of self-trust that even if somebody's not answering for hours doesn't mean that they're not choosing you. Now, again, if that's happening 2 months, 3 months into the relationship and you're feeling this constantly, there's a huge problem there. Then yes, then we're setting boundaries and we're moving on, right? As we get deeper into the relationship. But we need to let people show us their colors. Show me the effort, right? And let them do it. Sit in the uncertainty, sit in the unknown of not knowing where the relationship is going. When you're in a month in, you guys are just getting to know each other. Genuinely. You really don't know him. And to be honest, a month in, do I really owe you every hour? To me, it just seems like a lot, personally. But I will also caveat that and say, can you date somebody that probably has more time for you? Probably. But that's what you need to ask yourself. Is this person, to me, do I see enough potential here? And do I feel prioritized enough to be patient? That, to me, is a question that you need to ask yourself. Okay. So, and you said one more question. After a history of shitty relationships, I know I deserve somebody to take me out and impress me once in a while. I'm very low maintenance with that. And with that, men tend to think that means they don't need to try as hard. How do I make it clear from the start that just because I'm easygoing, that doesn't mean I don't deserve somebody to put in effort? Boundaries. And I know it's a blanket word and statement, but let me, I guess, explain that, right? So you're saying, how do I make it clear from the start that just because I'm easygoing doesn't mean I don't require and deserve somebody to put in effort? To me, you need to make sure that you're speaking your truth on that. Honestly. And here's the thing. If somebody starts to treat you in a way that you don't like, you got to be confrontational. You need to say something, right? You need to let them know, hey, I don't want to be inside the house tonight. Can we go out for a dinner? You know, there needs to, because that's the thing is you're trying to be this like cool girl, easygoing girl, and that's fine. I get that, right? You know, you probably are easy breezy, but at the end of the day, there does need to be investment on the other person's side. And if this is the same person, right? So again, that's what I'm kind of hearing. What I'm seeing from this vibe a little bit, right? You've been in a series of shitty relationships. It sounds to me like what you really struggle with is getting your needs met, which to me is usually anxious attachment up the wazoo, which usually means self-trust, self-worth issues. Hence the reason that you're looking for people to answer you every hour, because you probably don't feel underneath whole and enough and worthy of the type of relationship that you want. And that's what I'm saying. For you, it's going to be a double struggle, right? Having the worthiness to know that you deserve somebody that's going to take you on dates and prioritize you, and having the cojones, the balls, the ovaries to be able to to be able to make sure that people invest that much into you. But you need to believe that you are worth that. And when somebody doesn't treat you in the ways that you want, and if you feel that, right, if you feel them starting to get lazy on you, right, you feel that they're starting to, you know, kind of like, I don't know, back off their energy. There needs to be some level of confrontation. that's the hardest part for the easygoing girl, right? You need healthy confrontation. You need to say how you feel. You can't be afraid to tell somebody. Here's the problem. The issue is, if we don't have enough self-worth, right, that we deserve a relationship, the problem is usually we're getting stuck with the fear of loss, right? Oh, but if I tell him that he needs to take me on a date, or that I feel like I need more than what he's giving me, what if he leaves me? Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you right there, right? That is the decision right there in that moment. Do you feel like you deserve it? Because the woman that feels like she deserves it is going to say it. The woman that doesn't is going to stay quiet and be the cool girl. Because underneath, you feel like if you say what you need to say, that you might lose the person. But the truth is that's what I'm trying to say, is like, you need to be so upfront and real. And I know it's hard because, you are this, again, easy kind of going person. But to me, if you want me to be honest, I feel like early in the dating process, you need to set the tone. Really. I know we want to be chill, and it's okay to be chill. There's nothing wrong with chill. But what did we just talk about? Equilibrium. You're too chill. You are too chill, right? And what do we need to do? Heat it up a little bit. I want to see more boundaries. I want to see more confrontation. I want to see that when he doesn't show up for you or treat you appropriately, you nip that shit in the bud. Hey, don't speak to me like that. Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I like spending time at my house, but to be real, I feel like I want to go on more dates. If this feels like not enough effort. Like I said, do you have the ovaries to say that? And again, a lot of people don't, because they're scared. They're scared of what? The outcome, right? Outcome focused. We got to focus on your peace. If it's disturbing your peace and you're feeling triggered by something and you're feeling like something's off, something is actually off. It is off. Pay attention. Pay attention to your body. So, if I'm going to be real, right? If we go back to even the first situation, because remember, it's a double question. More than likely, I would probably say this is the situation between you and the guy, right? Because you're somebody that struggles with a little bit of that confrontation and that boundaries, you probably do attract guys that are more dismissive and aloof and avoidant. That's probably natural. You're dating this guy where you're putting in this effort. He probably feels that you're like fucking all in already, right? And now you're going to be asking him for more reassurance. And that's the thing, right? It's like on his end, I'm sure he's probably not prioritizing you that much. I feel I could probably tell you for a fact that's probably true. My point is, I think both are accurate, right? I think you're dating a guy that's not prioritizing you in the ways that you need. And I think on the other side is you are not trusting yourself enough and you're seeking reassurance when you need to be having more self-trust, right? Because I think if you were more confident in yourself, you could create more equilibrium in your relationships. But because you struggle, right? And here's the thing, we got to focus just on you, right? I can't coach men, right? Men in society. I mean, I do, right? I help them. But my whole point is I can't change society. I can't do that. But what I can do is help you, right? So all I can do is focus on you. And for me, right, again, like I said, I would want to help you create that equilibrium, create the level of self-trust that you could set these boundaries, that you could be a little bit more confrontational, right? That you could tell these people how you genuinely feel. Like you're afraid that he's going to feel attacked, right? And what is that? That is your own fear of his reaction. And if you're so scared of his reaction, are you truly going to be like honest and authentic about how you feel? Most of the time, no. And that's what I'm saying. That's where all my anxious live, in that scared little hole, right? Oh, if I ask for this, I'm not going to get it. Well, if you don't say anything at all, you're never going to get it either. So you better just fucking take the risk, right? That's what it really comes down to. And like I said, if he doesn't want to step up, then he's not your man. But do you have, like I said, the self-belief and the self-trust that you will find what you're looking for, and not get so invested into a new guy that you met for one time, and now all of a sudden you've created this identity and this story of like, oh my God, we're the perfect match and we're going to get fucking married and all this bullshit. It's been 1 month, sweetheart. I love that word. You know what I mean? And that's the problem, right? Is we write the fucking story, we create this identity. Now we want it so fucking badly, and now we're so fucking scared. We're so scared to lose it. When in reality, this should still be the time where you guys are forming. And back to the point I made earlier about you got to set the tone early. This is what happens, right? And this is why I would say most guys, and this is me being real, right? When we don't have that equilibrium within ourselves, right? When we don't have a good equal balance of boundaries, confrontation, right? And at the same time, sweetness, right? We need that sweet and spicy combo. We need 50-50. But when you're too one way, right? People are going to walk all over you. I see it every day. Every man is going to chew you up and spit you out. And no offense, they're not going to find you attractive. And I'm just telling you what the world is. You know, I would love to live in a perfect world where it's sunshine, rainbows, and daisies. And you could just, you know, not care about your needs. And you could just be so nice and do his laundry day one. But that's not how it works. Right? There needs to be a level of investment. I tell my clients all the time this, right? If I made my coaching free, would people take it seriously? The price is not for me. It's for you. Because if you don't invest anything into it, you're not going to fucking do the things I tell you to do, right? Or actually take it seriously. And it's the same thing in dating, right? If somebody doesn't have to invest into you early, they're going to take you for granted, point blank. And that's why I think a lot of guys are doing that to you, to be honest, is because you are not pricing yourself effectively. You are not showing that you deserve a certain amount of investment in order for them to be in your life. And this is why a lot of guys probably chew you up and spit you out. So like I said, you do have work. I do believe that he might not be prioritizing you as well. And I think the first step for you, if you want to build self-trust, right? If you want to solve this problem internally, right? I would say the action item that you have is you speak your truth about how you feel about not being prioritized. And maybe you be honest with the fact that, hey, put it all on the table, honestly. If you have, like I said, if you really want to grow and you want to grow fast, I'm telling you, heed these words. Seriously. Tell them the truth. Yo, I know I'm a pretty low maintenance, laid back person, but the truth is, like, I do feel like this is a little lax. Yes, you know, I want to give you enough space that you could live your life. I understand that, but I need to see more effort, right? And be honest, yo, I want a real relationship. That is what I'm moving towards. And I just want to be honest with you about that. Put it on the motherfucking table. Set the tone. And you can even say, I know I'm the chill girl. Be real as fuck. Be real as a motherfuck. And I will say though, the hard part about this is, a lot of people, we want to change the situation that we're in. Like I said, we're outcome focused. So a lot of people want to put this into practice just to solve the problem of this guy. But what I'm trying to tell you is it's an internal thing for you, right? To me, and I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of the times we're trying to take this and then fix the situation and then think, oh my God, all right, I spoke my truth and he said no. Fuck. I'm going to go back to him and keep sleeping with him because you know what? Fuck it. It didn't work anyways. And they give up. Sometimes it's very hard to change the perception of the person that you're dating. Once they have a certain perception of you, it's not very easy to get that to change. I want you to look, this is another great analogy. I want you to look at people's perception of you like water. Now, water, right? When you heat up water, is it instantly on fire? No. And first off, water doesn't turn on fire. But in order to get water to a boil, right, you have to put it on heat and you gotta let it sit there for a second, right? Now, the same thing with people's perception of you. If you put this into practice and you become the girl with more firm boundaries, higher amount of self-trust, his perception of you is not going to change overnight. He's not going to turn around and be like, oh my God, you spoke your truth one fucking time. All right, I love you. I'm attracted to you. No, it needs to be a series of confrontation. It needs to be a series of disciplined, hard, confident action that is going to change his perception. It might take you walking away from him for him to recognize that you mean business. So I just want you to understand that. Because again, a lot of people are like, okay, quick fix advice, quick fix. Nothing here is a motherfucking quick fix. Get that out of your head. Done. And this goes even to the girl in the earlier thing where I was ranting, right? I was ranting. She's like, I don't have the outcome that I want. What's the point of all the work? Patience. Delayed gratification. Most people quit. That's what it is. You quit. You're a quitter. And this is why you don't receive the results that you want, because when you face adversity, when you want an outcome and it's not happening yet, you fucking quit. You got to be firm in your belief. You got to be firm in yourself. You got to be firm with these motherfuckers, or they're never going to respect you. And honestly, you're going to show yourself that you don't even respect your own dreams. All right, let's keep it fucking rolling, Papa. All right, another situation. Then we're going to get to a little bit quicker questions. And by the way, you guys, if you're watching, I did change my hair. So if you want to say a nice comment about it, I changed it because people were bitching at me about it. But apparently it looks better. And honestly, I have been getting compliments. So why am I fishing for this? Okay, I gotta cut it out. All right, next situation. I met a guy in a dating app for about 3 to 4 months. We were focused only on each other. And we had this conversation too. All right, good energy, right? He even invited me on a future trip with his sister and his cousins, and he'd stay over at my place a couple nights a week. Everything felt great. Oh my God, a girl's dream, right? About a week ago, I felt a shift, less effort, less warmth. I brought it up and told him I respect honesty and would rather he tell me if he's no longer feeling it. He insisted he still wanted something long-term, but just wanted to go slow. Okay. My gut still told me something was off, so I re-downloaded the app and found his active profile. I sent him screenshots, no message, and blocked him everywhere. Damn. Holy shit. Good for you. Just straight running away. Good for you. Fuck it. I don't even know what to say to that. From a guy's perspective, why do men do that? So you're essentially asking me, why do men date you for 3 to 4 months and they like you, and then all of a sudden it changes? Man, isn't that the $1 million motherfucking question, huh? Let me tell you from my perspective, right? So I would say I'm an avoidant man. I'm now secure, but I've had these relationships. I mean, take the relationship that I've been, I honestly, a lot of them, right? Where it's like the first couple months, you're hot and heavy, you're trying to get the girl, it feels good. But somewhere along the way, you maybe start to have these feelings of like, is this the right situation? Is this enough? Am I where I want to be? All these motherfucking questions. That the problem is I don't think men are thinking about that until they have you. That's where it's fucked up, honestly. It really is. And again, it's not conscious. I don't want you to look at men and be like, men are fucking assholes. They're fucking fuck these people. Like, no, like we're human. You know what I'm saying? We're just wired this way. I don't know what to really tell you. But the truth is like, I don't know. The hard part is every single situation is unique, right? So it's hard to really say because obviously, again, he was giving you such good energy for such a good amount of time. But the reality is, again, some guys don't even recognize their own avoidance until it's too late, honestly. Or they might think to themselves that they really can do this. And what they do is, because again, I would assume it's probably that, which is like, they engage in these relationships because they know that they want them. The chase is fun. You're getting to know each other, the honeymoon phase, things are vibing. So you guys haven't necessarily hit that point yet where you've truly committed to each other. So it's just a really fun stage. It's more of a short-term phase. And then as you keep going, I think as a man, it starts to build up, right? And that's why I said, like, the question of, hey, is this my forever person? Am I really truly fully engaged in this relationship? Do I really want to be with this person for like the long haul? Am I complete on my own? Right? Then you start thinking about yourself like, fuck, like, am I where I want to be yet? All these fucking questions start to swirl. And yeah, next thing you know, like you're, I don't know, feeling like the person is not enough. But here's the thing too. I do feel that like sometimes as an avoidant guy, the problem is they're going to show you the world, right? We want to show up and we want to get you to like us. And I think that's the thing. That's why I said we're not really focused on the long haul. We're really focused more on how can I engage in this relationship? How do I create security as fast as possible? How do I get this girl to like me? Again, you're not thinking about sometimes the long haul of it. And again, that's, to me, maybe he did feel those things like earlier on, but he wasn't really vulnerable enough with himself to really be honest with that. Like maybe there were little moments and times when he was dating you where like he did like you, but maybe in the back of his mind, he was probably thinking to himself, like, I like this girl, but like, yeah, I don't really know, but I'm just vibing with it. I'm kind of rolling with it. I don't know. I would love to tell you like the perfect answer to this question, but again, every situation is just so different. The truth is like people fall out of love with people all the time. And that's the thing too. It's like he's promising you the world when in reality it's like you just don't know. This goes back to like what I was talking about in terms of like life being so uncertain. This is just the reality of life. It really is. And it really sucks when this fucking happens because it really makes you question, right? Like that's where you're sitting here. You're probably like, how the fuck did this happen? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? But I would turn around and I would say the bigger focus is that it's like, you didn't control that. Whatever reason he has for being back on the apps and whatever it is, that's on him. And more than likely, that's what I'm trying to say. He's maybe not truly secure in himself or truly is really capable and ready for a relationship, or just, honestly, I guess is the tougher news. Maybe he just didn't like you like that. And that happens too. That's the truth. And honestly, I think it's usually a combination of those things, genuinely, right? I think I've told you guys in the past about like avoidance where they kind of like, they date because they know that they want, a relationship or girl attention, whatever. At least that's what they're telling themselves, but they're not truly fully secure in themselves yet. And so what happens is you kind of date this person, you act like you're all in, but really you're just like a toe in, but you're showing to the person that you're all in because you know that you need to show that in order for her to stay around. Right? In order for her to be there. But like I said, a lot of avoidants are very undecided on what they want to do with the relationship. And then what ends up happening is months go down in and you're sitting there, you're then thinking to yourself like, fuck, do I really want to do this? And most of the time it's like, nah, you find like that one little issue and you're like, nah, I'm good. Like maybe this isn't it. I need to find the perfect person. I need to find the person that is so amazing, and is all these motherfucking things. And this is why I said it's so complicated, because what I would want to know is what is his dating history, right? Was he in a series of long relationships, or is he somebody that has been in a lot of like shorter relationships? And again, I'll speak for my own self on this question, right? Because this is my personal experience. And I think that I honestly have done this to numerous girls in my past where like, and the reason I think it's that is because I feel like I was like the average man that was avoidant and again, didn't have the consciousness to understand what I was doing. And if I take myself back to that era where like, this reminds me a lot of like the Miami situation where like I meet this girl, she's like is hot and heavy right off the jump. And I'm like, damn, she's hot as fuck. She's cool. Like you just dive in, you just fucking dive into the relationship. You're not thinking about the long term. You're just thinking about like, wow, she's hot, she's cool, like, let's just do it. Like, we're going to do all these things. I like went and visited her at one point. She came to visit me a bunch of times. And that's the thing is like, as I was starting to date her and get to know her, it started to click to me that like, man, a couple things were off. And I didn't necessarily like, again, I was so disconnected from my own body and my own feelings that just her energy and attention was good enough for me at the time. I wasn't thinking about forever with her. I was just thinking about the here and now. I was thinking about like, let's hang out. Yeah, come visit me. Yeah, come stay with me. Come hang out. Let's make videos. Let's cook food. Let's go to the pool. Like, yeah, I'm loving this. Like, it's fun. It's chill. But in the back of my mind, there would be like little moments of like, oh, is this the forever girl? And then like, you kind of just ignore that for a while. You just kind of ignore it. And then 3 or 4 months in, when the relationship is super comfortable and then she's wanting all this energy from you, you kind of just start to like, I don't know, there just hits this like random point where you're like, nah, this isn't it. And then you start to like, yeah, maybe he'll start to look for other things. And I think that's what's really happening, right? Is like, instead of like being honest with you and telling you how he feels because he doesn't want to fully break it off, he starts to look outside of the relationship. I mean, think about my 5-month situation where like, I knew that it wasn't it for me. I couldn't tell her. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm keeping my options open. I'm still dating you, but like, oh, do I love you? Do I not love you? And then I'm like, still at the same time, like dating other people. It's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe he could have been more honest with you about how he felt. I think at some point during your relationship, I think that, yeah, for some reason, he just felt like it wasn't enough. And again, to me, I want you to look at that and not take it personal, because it's a combination probably of his avoidance and at the same time, maybe his own inner feelings about you, right? It's a mixture. When I look at some of my previous relationships, when I really look back and I'm just honest with myself, it's not like a lot of those people were bad candidates for a relationship. Like, I'm sure if I was more equipped for relationships, my body, my history, my trauma, right, was more aligned with somebody that was, more of a relationship guy, I probably would have dated a few of them for the long haul or a longer period of time. So, but again, it doesn't mean that any of those girls were truly my end all be all. But at the same time, the flip side of the coin is, I think a lot of being in a relationship is also being able to navigate discomfort and imperfection. And that's like the weirdest thing. Trust me, even for me, right? It's still hard to see that, because that's the thing. My patterns show up, right? When I meet a new person, it's almost just like immediately I'm questioning if she's good enough. But the reality is the reason I'm doing that is probably because for myself personally, I haven't cultivated that strong sense of wholeness and enoughness for myself, right? If I'm such a perfectionist on my own, right, I need to probably wait till a time in my life that I could start to view myself as imperfect and okay if I'm going to be able to look at somebody else and see the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say. It might be a combination of him seeking perfection in a relationship, thinking that it's the perfect person that's going to complete him, but he's going to find out over time that it's probably half and half. Yes, he does need to really like the person. That's true. But at the same time too, every single person you meet, they're going to have their flaws. It's going to be imperfect. A lot of it is a relationship is working on it with somebody that you just choose to work on it with. And it's weird. Sometimes it makes me think that like the taxi cab theory has some weight to it. In the sense that like when I get to a place personally that I feel probably more satiated and less concerned with perfection and less concerned with image, I think that's really big. I've really like diminished my ego to the point that I could look at myself and just be grateful and happy for exactly who I am despite the results, which again, will never be perfect. But the more that I move towards that, the more capable it seems I'm ready for a relationship. So, I would say just again, big overall advice on this is you can't take it personal. And again, he wasn't vulnerable with you. He wasn't honest with you about it. Do I think blocking him just off the bat? Yeah, fuck it. I mean, it is what it is, right? You guys are supposed to be exclusive. He's telling you all these things. Good for you, to be real. Protect your energy, protect your peace. Although at the same time too, do I think that when we talk about boundaries, what I would have liked to see in that situation is maybe sending him those pictures. Yeah, maybe you could listen to him and hear what he has to say, and you probably would have had a better answer, right? Because me giving you the answer gives you no clarity. right? If you didn't block him and you just shared those screenshots and you just kind of let him react how he wanted to react, you probably would have had a better idea, right? Like we would have had more information to go off of. Hey, I was just, I don't know why I was on the apps. Like, I really do like you. I'm just like struggling or not, to be honest, like this isn't the relationship for me. Maybe he would have been honest. Probably not, because he already lied, right? I'm not saying he's your person, and I'm not saying to like go back to him. That's not what I was saying. My point is, if you're going to sit here and question this, you could always just go to him and ask. But the hard part is having the boundaries to still be firm in your answer. Because the truth is, if somebody's breaking trust like that, 3-4 months in, they're on dating apps, that's a huge no for me. Absolutely not. And I'm happy that you had that hard line as well. Because, yeah, you deserve somebody that's ready. And at the end of the day, just because he's not, like I said, don't lose your self-trust. It's hard, right? It's really difficult. This is those moments, right? When, like I said, you got to be really fucking patient. Remember I was telling you, what is patience? Patience is being able to sit in difficult, uncomfortable feelings for longer than you want. Imagine having to face that you were so close, yet so far. That's a big struggle, right? Where it's really hard when you meet some guy and it's fucking awesome. And then all of a sudden it just falls off a cliff and you're like, holy fuck, I was so close to what it is that I wanted and it's not there anymore. I know it's hard, but you got to pick yourself back up and you got to keep going. Your person's out there, right? Don't trust that. Trust in the God, trust in the redirection of it. Don't sit here and get so bogged down and take it personal and make it about you and get so in your head about like, fuck, like, is it me? Am I not good enough? Am I doing something wrong? To me, honestly, in this situation, I would turn around and say, no, you did the right thing. It really sounds like you were communicating. You brought it up to him. You were very honest. You were honest about the energy shift. You were so real. I'm proud of you. For real. I'm happy for you. And you are going to find the person that you're looking for. And I guarantee you that guy is probably somewhat tripping. I would probably bet. Because for a lot of avoidant men, when we lose that validation, because I think that's what he was keeping you around for at that point, right? He's then going to turn into anxious. He's then going to feel like, holy fuck, like what the fuck did I do? Why did I do that? And hopefully you could be the lesson for him that he goes and he starts to work on that. Why am I pushing people away? Why am I just fucking, I know that she was cool. Why am I just dating a bunch of other people? What's the point? I think that's a canon event in most avoidant men's life is like, you finally meet the girl that showed up for you. You kind of fumble the bag a little bit. You fuck around, you find out, and you realize, fuck, I got to stop doing that shit. That's what happened to me, right? It's like I kept doing that to girls. Keeping them in limbo land all the time, 3-4 months. Oh, I don't need this relationship. You hurt the wrong one, and then she finally sets that boundary with you, and like, fuck, that shit crushes you, man. But it's good. He needs that lesson. Sucks that you had to be the person to give it to him. And then who knows? Maybe he doesn't even learn. Who cares? That's not even what's important. What's important for you is to relinquish this, let it go. It's in the past. Accept it as hard as you motherfucking can. Let it be. Let it die. You don't need to hold on to that. You let it go. Seriously. And focus on the next person. Focus on probably right now. You probably need a couple weeks, couple months. Get yourself back on your feet. Enjoy your life. Get back to you feeling free, fun, peaceful. And like I said, as best you can, not take it personal. Oh, wow. I'm at an hour. Holy fuck. It's going, man. All right. And really quick. So, oh man, this is a whole episode, to be honest. She said, we need a situationship episode, please. Like, how long should you date to become official? When is too soon? Oof. That's a whole thing I can go on a rant with. We probably need more time for that. Let's go to this question because to me, it's a little bit quicker and maybe it's a little bit more relevant to what we just had talked about. So she said, does a guy really change in 4 weeks if he finds the right person? He had a lot of things he had to work on to heal himself, but has never been alone. He broke up after 7 years to just get into another relationship. So essentially, this guy broke up with her. They were dating for 7 years, and he jumped right into a relationship in 4 weeks. Does a guy really change in 4 weeks? No, he does not. No, absolutely not. 0% chance. And more than likely, if he's jumping out to something new, I mean, who knows? It's a new experience for him. Who knows how far it's going to go, whatever it might be. But I can guarantee you, whatever challenges he had with you are going to be the same challenges he has with the next person. His challenges are always going to be present. And it's really hard because, again, like I said, we take this shit personal. We make it about us, right? We make it and we say, fuck, like, what does that say about me that he dates somebody else already? That says nothing about you. It has nothing to do with your happiness. It has nothing to do with your work. It has nothing to do with, where you're going and what is in front of you. I know it's really hard when somebody just jumps from your relationship to the next one, but you don't control that. You don't control another person at all, 0%. And I guess this is what I'm talking about the uncertainty and getting comfortable with it. These are these fucking uncomfortable ass moments that we got to learn to buckle in and do our best to, sit in it. Sit in it. You can't force your way out of it. You can't force your way out of those feelings. Sit in those feelings. Let it be uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be hurt by it. Allow yourself to tell yourself, yo, that is triggering as fuck. That hurts. I don't like that shit. But here's my thing, and something I see with a lot of people that I coach. Don't even the score. You don't need to be petty. Because you're going in the opposite direction when you do that. You know, something that happened, with a relationship that was close to me, it was a very similar situation where they were in a marriage and she asked for a divorce and then she's on a vacation, right, with another guy within 2 weeks. And so I had to talk to this guy and let him know, I'm like, I understand that's frustrating because you're probably sitting here fucking destroyed and, they're just out there living their life willy-nilly. So you just automatically assume that they're happy and you're not, that they're satisfied and completely good. So, what does that say about you? But like I said, I think they're just delaying their inevitable. That's what's really happening. I think when somebody goes from relationship to relationship, they're just going to create the same dynamics over and over and over and over and over. I don't think there's anything wrong with moving from relationship to relationship. Every single person is different. But what I do find, like I said, is your challenges are your challenges. They're patterns for a reason. Whatever, feelings and challenges that he had, right? You said he had work to do on himself, right? He had a lot of work to do to heal himself, but he's never been alone. That's for him to figure out. Maybe it is going to take him being alone, but he's repeating his pattern, is he not? Right? He's probably just relying on somebody else's energy to prop him up. And to me, that has a time limit. It does. So what I think people do when they do that, right? When they don't take the time to, sit with themselves, they're essentially just putting a Band-Aid on it. And what ends up happening is eventually it's going to come off. You're just delaying the inevitable. Like people are just passing it on. Remember I gave you guys the example of the root canal? It's like they know they have to do the root canal. They know they have to do the healing, but instead of making the appointment, they push the appointment off. They just keep pushing the appointment off. I'll just keep pushing it off. I'll just keep pushing it off. Right? But again, you don't control the person that does that. So for you, the problem is right now is you're going through the root canal. You're going through the pain and they're not, and you're looking at them and you're saying, fuck them. You know what I mean? I want comfort. And then what do most people do in reaction, right? What do most people, oh my God, they're out dating somebody. I need to be dating already. No, you don't. Do the work. Focus on you. Don't focus on them. Allow yourself to go through the discomfort. They're going to have to do it at some point. I'm telling you, life is very long. Life is very long. Karma is very real. And again, not karma as in something bad's going to happen to them. I don't agree with that. I hope that genuinely, this is me being real. I hope that he is happy as fuck. Genuinely. Because I wish that for every single person. Because at the end of the day, it's not evil. People are not evil. It's not good versus bad. Everybody has their own challenges. Everybody has their own flaws. he's going to deal with the things that he's going to deal with. The emotions that he's going to go through, he's going to go through. But like I said, what you can do for yourself, the best thing that you could do for yourself, focus on your own energy. Focus on your healing. Focus on creating the identity for yourself beyond that relationship. Yes, 7 years. Guess what? Your identity is wrapped up in that guy. I can guarantee. And I can guarantee it's painful. But that's what I'm trying to say. Allow that pain to be there. Own the pain. Own the fact that you got to go through this process and trust the process. Trust yourself. You build self-trust by going through the risky action of betting on yourself, of not forcing something else into your life because you need a Band-Aid, but sitting with it and actually enduring it and not taking it personal. Because what you want to cultivate for yourself is another great relationship and happiness within yourself. And if he's doing that through other sources, right? If he's doing it through relationships, again, like I said, that's his work. He might feel good while it's good right now and they're in the honeymoon phase, but you know how long that lasts. So let him go date that. He's still going to be the same guy that you dated before. He is. He hasn't changed. But this is an opportunity for you to change. This is an opportunity for you to shift. This is an opportunity for you to elevate yourself and date somebody that is even more alignment than you. Like I said, life's uncertain, right? You guys are seeing it firsthand. Some people are like, oh my God, look at their relationship. They're so great. 7 years, gone. Gone. And that's what I'm trying to say is like everybody is focused on the result. Oh, if I'm in relationship, I happy. Not true. Not true. You see what I'm saying? It's not about the relationship status. It's about how strong is your internal mindset? How strong are your tools? How much do you trust yourself? How much do you believe in yourself? How much can you endure negativity? How much can you endure rejection? That to me is a sign of a truly happy and confident and joyful person. All right. Great work. So, all right, next week, avoided women. I might try to take the situationship episode. We could do a whole fucking thing on that. So we'll get to all these things. There's a lot. This is great. But anyways, love you guys. If you ever want to work with me, you know where to find me. I would love to help you with your self-trust and your boundaries and all of that. Finding that equilibrium, dealing with uncertainty. That is the key. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.